The money creation concept. Did you know that banks create money? It's not that they can just simply print it. The economy works in a very clever way. In this case, without printing or issuing any new money, commercial banks create money almost out of thin air. Only a central bank such as the Bank of England or the Federal Reserve can issue money, also called legal tender. Then how can they do it? They do this through consecutive rounds of lending. Let me give you an example. A saver, let's call them Mr. Smith, goes to a bank, let's call it Bank A, and deposits $20 million. Mr. Smith gets a receipt, called a bank statement, that reads he has $20 million in Bank A. Bank A cannot actually use or lend all of the $20 million. They can only use a fraction of it. The central bank can control how much money is created by changing that fraction. The fraction that cannot be used is called required reserves. That is why this system is called the fractional reserves system. Let's imagine that the central bank rules that the bank can use 90% of the total they have. The other 10% is called the reserves ratio. A borrower, let's call it Company X, approaches Bank A. Imagine that Bank A lends all the money they can to Company X. In this case, they can lend 90% times 20 million, that is 18 million. Company X will most likely deposit the money in another bank. Let's call it Bank B. Company X will get another bank statement for $18 million from Bank B. Another borrower, let's call it Company Y, approaches Bank B. Imagine that Bank B also lends all the money they can to Company Y. In this case, they can lend 90% times 18 million, that is $16,200,000. Company Y will deposit the money in another bank. Let's call it Bank C. Company Y will get another bank statement for $16,200,000 from Bank C. Remember that 10% will be reserves. The saver will have a bank statement for $20 million, Company X for $18 million, and Company Y for $16,200,000. So far, there is $54,200,000, and with more rounds of lending, more money will be created this way. As long as they don't go to the bank to withdraw their money, money is continuously created. This is true because people trust their economies and are happy holding on to the bank statements. So, how much money can be created? The answer entails a very simple mathematical trick. Multiply the original $20 million, the only money issued by the central bank, times 10. This is called the money multiplier, and that will give you a total of 200 million that can be created. Why 10? Well, because 10% is the reserves ratio. The money multiplier is calculated by taking 1 divided by the reserves ratio. 1 divided by the reserves ratio is 1 divided by 10% is the same as 1 divided by 0.1, and that equals 10. Imagine the central bank wants to reduce the amount of money created. They can do that by increasing the reserves ratio. If they change it to 20%, the money multiplier is 5 and $100 million are created. What happens if everyone wants their money at the same time? This is what we call a bank run, and then the economy collapses. And that's what happened in 2007 when banks went bust. But this is a matter for another session. Thank you for your attention.